Hello, everybody. How are you all tonight? Welcome, Diana. Chris is yet to be here. Chris is late as usual. Oh, maybe not as usual.
No, he's usually on time. It's usually me that's late. But he is finishing up a black and white of the Cardinal, um, and he
One of
will be.
the
Yeah,
other people.
one of the panels that we have in the Great Cyclopean Nine. I believe it's the Cardinal of Justice 2. We ran
Yeah,
the first Cardinal story in the Great Cyclopean 8, and we
yeah,
are following it up in 9.
yeah. Which we were unable to have you guys on here for. I was going to say it's been a little bit since you guys were on. I think back in
Yeah, it
February.
has.
February
Hmm.
when you were doing number 7. Unfortunately, we were unable to get you on for number 8.
Right?
But hey, we're on for number 9, which is good. As you can see, I got some of the stuff over here. I should have brought you guys on through Discord. That way, I could have had both of you down in the corner.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
but I
That's
wasn't thinking, you know. And we have Good Night Spoon here. Hey, Good Night Spoon, how are you tonight? Uh,
hey.
so, what's although Chris probably can answer this better. What has been
Mhm.
up with well, at least you guys since you guys were on doing numbers advertising number 7.
After number 7, well, we did 8, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, you
Um,
fulfilled, and
it was
I guess
fulfilled. Yes. So
yeah, yeah.
we're
Obviously,
really, I got to tell you, we're really blessed because we have, I think, the only campaign we've ever failed was the Chris's attempt at the MAGA series, and so
yeah,
that didn't go over so well. But as far as the Great Cyclopean, every book that we have funded has been funded. Every campaign that we've run has been funded, including the Great Cyclopean 8. The Great Cyclopean 9 is already funded. We have some amazing friends who absolutely love the comic and support us. And so they are always out there, being the first one or two to get a set,
yeah,
which is really exciting. But we still want to get more readers. That's our kind of our goal. We are, I guess our target audience would be children. I mean, that's what
yeah,
we in our brains want to go to, but we do have, it seems, more adults that are reading the Great Cyclopean these days. We do have quite a few kids out there. I know our local library tells us that it's checked out quite often. I actually
yeah,
have to give them some more copies, so that's a good thing.
yeah.
Um,
It's probably a thing of it's an all ages book. You
yeah,
know,
that's a good
yeah,
point.
yeah. You would like kids to read it to get kids into it, but unfortunately, kids don't have a lot of money. So
They don't. They don't. And that's one of the reasons why we do offer, as crazy as this might sound, we do offer PDFs that you can go to our website and kind of peruse or read the stories. And if you are a wise shopper, if you're just not sure on the Great Cyclopean yet, you can actually read issues 1 through 8 on our website just to kind of get a feel for the story and see if it's something you'd be interested in.
yeah,
Um, Chris came up with that marketing strategy. I wasn't a big fan, but we do have a lot of kids, like I said before, that uh,
yeah,
they don't have money. I mean, a lot of kids, a
yeah.
lot of
Well,
families
well,
don't
once
have
they know
money. So
something, kids can bother parents who have money.
exactly. And not only that, they can go to their local library and say, "Hey, I read this comic online. Do you have it?" And therefore the
Yeah,
libraries can go out and order a couple copies for their
yeah,
library, which is, to me, from a marketing standpoint, is a really good thing because
yeah,
if the copies get lost or they get used up in their comic books, if the kids, if they get checked out enough, they start to wear down, they have to order more.
yeah,
So yeah, so it's a good thing, I think,
for
anyways.
sure. Good night, Spooner. What do you mean? What is happening on my screen? I'm not sure what you mean exactly. Of course, you have me, two of Diana. Unfortunately, what I was, if you're referring to the way I have my side, good night, Spooner, I should have brought them in via Discord, so
Oh
we can
yeah.
have all of us on
Oh, that's why.
the
Mhm.
campaign because I had set everything up in OBS so I could
Mhm.
have us both. I was hoping that this screen here, the StreamYard screen, if
Right.
you know I could just get you and you
I'm
and
sure I know.
Chris when you came
Yeah.
on by drinking
Right.
it, but
Right.
it does. If I do something where I'm not sure whether you should be able to see this. See, it does that, which is
Yeah.
not good. When I go me,
Mm-hmm. Oh.
it's just me on the side. That is not good. I don't see
Oh,
that.
that's weird. That's kind of crazy, huh? That's
Yeah,
kind of crazy.
maybe it's because of how I have things situated or whatever. I don't know. That's
Right.
again another reason why, like I said, I think I should have used Discord to bring you guys in to talk.
Right.
And but it's not a biggie, you know.
Right. Well,
You
I
know,
mean, I don't know what it's like to. I just open up my discard and discard my discard. Yeah, I'm gonna open up my discard, guys. I'm like,
yeah,
look
you're
at
gonna
my.
discard.
I'm just gonna discard. What the heck, right? Because we've done that before. We've gone on your Discord channel and you've streamed it to your YouTube channels because that's what you're in. You're in Discord, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well, I'm in a lot, but Discord I think would have been better to uh, put it to OBS, which then I could put to
right.
StreamYards, which
Yeah.
then would get everything filtered, you know, and I can switch between stuff and everybody can be seen and stuff like that. I can mess with stuff, you know, and all that.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's something I should do right now. Well, we're waiting for Chris. I should
Yeah.
share this out because that's the one thing I have yet to do. You said
Ah.
you shared it earlier, but I haven't.
I shared it earlier. I shared it to our Facebook and I shared it on Twitter. So two places that I would typically go. Facebook, I think Instagram might pick it up as well because the way I have it set up. I think I'm not sure, but
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna put a link to my Discord so people there know.
mm-hmm.
There we go. Uh, we have Good Night Spoon saying, Diana, what is your favorite chest opening?
Oh goodness. My favorite chess opening would be to move one of the knights, and I don't play it that well, and I don't know like specifics. Poor Goodnight Spoon is like, dear God, what in the world? Um, and so I like to move my knights because they're the L shape. That's about my level of playing chess, but I always lose. I always lose, and I don't play it that often. I don't have
Uh,
people that play
uh,
with me that
yeah, I
often.
don't play that often. I know how to play. I know the basics as well. Probably usually one of my first opening moves, just like most people, is move a pawn up like two spots.
Yeah, it's just like, um, I've
Because
played. I honestly haven't played it in a long time, to be fair. So,
there isn't much you can move besides a pawn or maybe a knight.
right,
You
that's
know,
what I do. I tend to do the knights. I tend to, yeah. I was like, oh,
it's not like you can actually move a bishop or the queen or the king or the rook
right,
because all those pawns are in the way. The only one that can get over them is the knight.
right, right, exactly, exactly.
So
Um,
it's either you're opening with a pawn or you're opening with the knight.
right, one or the other. And I always like to go with the knight for some reason. That's just my thing. So,
And I'm sure good knight spoon would like that.
yeah, I don't know. He
Okay,
didn't respond.
okay. What else? Trying to think of stuff to ask. Well, Chris is.
Yeah, you can well, okay, so let me fill you in. So we have a really busy schedule as far as Comic Cons coming up starting actually Friday. Saturday. So I don't know who is familiar with Mighty Mascots or Reckless Psych production. Keith Gleason and Amy Gleason are the people of I'm just reading Knights was one of my previous openings. I'm probably trying to figure out. Oh, so this Good Night Spoon is a real chess player. I digress.
I'm not sure how much of a real chess player he is. He probably does play in real life, but I'm not sure how much.
Right. Well, he
He, he's
sounds pretty. He sounds pretty.
he's been a fairly long time fan of the channel. He's come
Nice.
and gone, so he's had a different name once upon a time. I will not reveal that name. I've
That's
been sworn
okay.
to secrecy.
That's all right.
All I have to say is "mum's the word."
Mum is the word, and that is a good thing. So, as far as our Comic Con, so we ended up having an unexpected con to go, and it's not really a con; it's more like a block party, but has indie creators and all kinds of family-friendly activities, which I'm kind of excited for. So it's going to be a little different. So rather than Chris coming along and Keith coming along, they are the creators; they are the ones that actually create the comic books. Amy is an amazing illustrator in her own right. And I believe she's done some illustration for Keith's for the Mighty Mascot. Don't hold me to that. I could be wrong. And so it's just going to be Amy and I manning the tables for our husband's comic books on Saturday. I believe the venue is from 11 to 6 or 11 to 5 or something like that. So we're pretty excited about it because Chris, of course, has given me a mission. I must sell at least 10 books. That is what he asked me to do. And I said, I am going to do my best, sir. And hopefully I'll be able to get that done. If not, I will fail as a salesperson and get fired again. So that's coming up on Saturday. But then in September, we have potentially 3. Right now, we're confirmed for 2. September 7th, we are going to be at the Retro Expo. That's in Rhode Island. We've never done this show, so we're pretty excited about that. And that's a day show. It's like a 10 to 5 or a 10 to 6 show. And then we're going to Granite State Comic Con, which is a bigger show, and you guys might have heard of that before. Granite State is in New Hampshire. It's a show we've attended before, although we didn't go last year. So there's a 2-day show. I'm sorry. Pretty pumped about that. And then we have the possibility of going out to New Jersey. I'm still waiting to get an email back from this show to see if they have any openings because it is kind of a late thing. We just found out about it. And then, of course, we have our October 5th Comic Book Fest in conjunction with the Athol Library. So we have the next, 6 weeks are going to be quite busy for Chris and I as far as, shows and whatnot like that. We're very excited because, obviously the Great Cycclopian 9 is funding now. And it's things are going to be revealed in this issue. So if you have been backing us right along, now is a great time to get that Great Cycclopian 9 because it does reveal a few things. I don't want to tell you what it reveals because I want it to be a surprise for you. But one of the questions that have been asked for years now will be answered. And so, it will be answered exactly. And so it's going to be very unexpected. But number 9 is a milestone issue. I would say it is because it is revealing some details about Peter that have not previously been known. And so, and it's a story that you need to really think about when you're reading because it's kind of not mind blown, but it makes you really think about what's going on in the story. That's all I'm going to say. So it's
and you acknowledge something that I've been trying to say. Tim is here. Hey, Tim, how are you doing? And what do you mean I misspelled the Great Cycclopian? It's spelled right there.
No, you've got 2 C's in it. CYCCLO. One of the C's.
Hit the refresh.
Okay. He fixed it. Yes, smarty pants.
See, I didn't spell it wrong.
Oh, you did it. You're right. You didn't spell it wrong. Tim, I don't know what you were talking about. Why are you picking on our friend Rick like this? No, seriously.
It's your computer that had it wrong. It's all in your imagination.
It is all in your imagination. Gosh darn it. So yeah, so I'm excited about this issue. It took me as the editor to really read it, not just read it for grammatical and punctuation and stuff like that, but to really read the story several times for it to start to like, oh, this is really good. This is good. This is good. Like that kind of a thing. First I read, I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Oh, and Chris would be sitting there, just wait, go to the next page, just wait, go. But this was our conversation, and then after I read it, and then I read it again, I'm like, oh, wow, that's really cool. And of course, we've added the Cardinal of Justice to the Great Cyclopean 9, which is always a
Yeah.
nice add feature.
Well, it seems like with number 8, you added the feature of the cardinal, which is going to
Right,
be a short story at the end of it, 4 or 5 pages, something like that, or 2 pages.
right. I believe it's 8 pages, but don't quote me because it is Chris, and
Yeah,
so he tends to um, do stuff that might be a little crazier than most people. So, um, and add like another like five pages maybe.
yeah,
Because I can see how he does that. He's like, I just don't know how to end the story. I just can't end the story just like this. I'm like, I know, honey, but now you're putting another whole book in the book. So give
yeah,
some, let some go for
yeah.
us to have.
You got to figure out how to do those cliffhangers, and that can be
Right. Exactly.
it can be hard, but
Yeah.
you've got to learn how to do it.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
maybe it means watching some more cliffhangers from TV shows.
Right. Right.
Reading some more comics with cliffhangers.
Reading some more comics that have cliffhangers. Exactly. Um, so yeah, they are great ideas, and he does have a lot of crazy creative ideas. I think as far as the Cardinals of Justice, that was something that was kind of like a happenstance. It was a character that Eric Tamburino had and had in the back of like his back burner.
Yeah,
He's a great writer,
yeah,
and when he's one of the Mantown guys, when we were up there chatting, I don't know how it came about, but Eric started talking to Chris about this character and giving him some details, and Chris was like, "Oh my gosh, can I kind of do something with this?" And of course, the guy was
yeah,
like, "Yeah." So
yeah.
that's how that came about. It is definitely different from what the character Eric, I think, is going to do eventually, but he is given
Yeah, there's been
things to
I'm not
Chris.
sure whether Eric is the one that I know of, but how long has Eric had this character? Because there's another cardinal that I know of that's been around for quite some time.
Hmm.
Actually, I think there's a few different ones, and
Yeah, there are different
uh,
ones, and
the
honestly,
one that
I
I
don't.
know of is an independent comic that is Christian as well.
Yeah, no, he hasn't done a comic book. He's written novels. He's
Well,
written like a collection of
uh,
short stories, but not
yeah.
comic books yet.
Yeah, well, I don't think he's ever the guy that I know of. I don't think he's ever published his own comic with it. The
Right?
character, I think he's had some comic strips, maybe, or he's been in some
Yeah.
people's stuff before. I'm not sure. Uh,
Right. Right.
it's been a while since I've
That's all right.
been
So
interacting.
we we met Eric through uh, Chris's friend from school, from high school, middle school, Tony, and that's how we were introduced to Eric. And we learned that he was a writer, and he wrote the book where Man and Monster Meet, which is a collection of short stories that are more fairy tale-ish, but they're very well written. So I enjoyed his work. But yeah, he's a great guy. And so Chris has sort of borrowed this character to come up with a little mini side series for the Great Cyclopean. And he is going to be, I think he's going to be a character in future issues. Um, so here's my thought. I thought that the Great Cyclopean was a 12-issue series, and that at the end of the 12th issue, it would be wrapped up with a tidy little bow. And my husband just informed me, nope, 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 the Cyclopean, nope, it never ends. I'm like, oh, okay, I stand corrected.
Yeah, from what I got, it was supposed to be a 12-issue arc. It
Yes,
is definitely supposed to be an ongoing series.
yep,
Unless you kill off a character like that, you can't have a tidy little bow. It's just
right. No, you're right. And I just in my mind, and I'm ashamed to say this, I didn't quite bridge that thought
Yeah.
process. But sometimes dealing with Chris, his thoughts change so quickly that I'm like, wait, what? What? When did that happen? Or and this was one of those instances. I'm like, oh, and then you're right. So this is the first story arc of the Great Cyclopean. He has said that. And
Yeah.
hey, Herman, I am now working through Herman's latest book. It's very good as usual.
Yeah,
Sorry, that
that's
was a
something
side.
I got to get. I can't. I actually got to get it. I got his second book audio.
Yeah.
He gave that to me, and I've
Oh,
got to
nice.
actually. I've got to get the third one. Is he
Yeah.
on three or four?
I
I
think
think
it's
he
the
was working on two at the same time, or almost at the
two.
same time.
Yeah, I think it's the fourth one that I get. You
How
know?
many books you got, Herman?
Oh,
Yep.
that's awesome, Tim.
Let's see. Good news. Last of the Melvin reprints is awesome. Awesome. So four will be Dubai next year. Cool. Cool. Cool.
Hmm.
Lots. Awesome. Awesome.
Okay, working on 4 and 5. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, and I have every one so far. Believe it or not,
Yeah.
I love his writing. I really do. I enjoy it very much. He's a good
We're,
writer.
we're, we're going to have Herman on
You
again.
should. I'm reading The Revenant and the Cult right now. I've read The Revenant and the Tomb and The Wizard's Stone, so I'm reading the
Yeah.
third one now. And Yep. Let's see.
Dubai.
Tim.
Dubai. Dubai.
Yay. So Tim's Melvin 4 will debut next year. That's awesome, Tim. That's very cool.
Debut. Debut.
Debut. Debut. Debut.
Debut.
Debut. Debut. He will debut.
Debut. You get debut.
Poor Tim. Oh my gosh. That's an easy word to misspell though. It is because that E is silent.
Or mispronounce.
Yeah, or mispronounce. You know.
Although I think he has misspelled it. Dubai.
It's okay. It's okay. Let's see. Is that Chris texting me? I don't know what he's doing now. He said he was going to pop in.
Yeah, you should text him and get him here because he's got to say stuff about. He knows more about what's going on.
I know. I'll ask him if he's joining us because I'm texting. Sorry.
Oh, no problem.
I just noticed I'm like, I'm on camera and I'm like totally ignoring you.
No. Or Google is lying to me. Maybe there's a Canadian way of spelling it. I think there's another letter in between in the after either before the U or after the U.
Mm-hmm.
I think there might be supposed to be another E. Debuet. Tibet?
Maybe.
Because I think that's but I do think Debut is a word too. So it's not so much get a definition from Google for what the word means. Because they both could be
He
words
did
and
spell it right, debut. But I've seen with an E. I've seen it with an E as well. Yeah. So that's my computer. Somebody's texting me. That's probably my husband going, no, I'm not coming in. I'm too busy. I don't want to come in. I don't want to talk to anybody. It's like that sometimes. You know that, guys.
yes. He should get here. He should talk to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He said, give me a few more minutes. So I know he's like, when I came down here to start the stream or to jump in the stream, he was right in the middle of working on a piece for the Cardinal, which is a black and white piece, black and white, as you guys know. And it looked amazing. And so he was kind of in the zone of drawing. And I said, hey, don't forget we got Rick's show. And he's like, oh God, that's right. Okay. I'll pop in at some point. All right. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go down
At some point. Yeah, we're ending and he pops in.
Yeah, you know. Hmm.
Yeah, good timing, Chris.
Yeah. I so as far as the Great Cyclopean 9, I mean obviously it's totally funded at this point. But it's not
Yeah,
about the funding for us. It never has been about the funding. I'm really hoping we pick up more back. I'm confident we'll get more backers. I mean, we do have 46 days left, and
yeah,
it's a long campaign, so people, may just be waiting. Like, okay, yeah, I got to do that. I'm not going to rush out and get it, but I know it's on my list of things to
yeah,
do. So I don't really like sweat it. Like if we were like a day away and we still only had three backers, I might be going, "Oh my god, I can't believe we've only got." I mean, we made it, and that's fine and whatever. But the point is, like, we are trying to build.
with what you probably would have to fulfill, it needs a lot of extra money
Yeah,
to
well,
go.
yeah, but still, it's still, it's like, yeah, that's great. The money's great, but we want to get the series
Yeah,
out to
yeah,
people and whatnot.
yeah.
Um,
You
and
want the money, but you also want the people.
mhm.
It's
Right, we want it because that's how you get your series out there. I mean, if you only have a one shot, so people buy the Great Cyclopean and that was it, and maybe they didn't like it or whatever, and that's fair. I mean, I get it. There's books that I've bought that are like, that's not really my cup of tea, and kudos for the artist or the writer, but it's not something I would buy the second issue for because it just wasn't a story that really, hit me home,
yeah,
here in the
caught you,
yeah.
grabbed you
And
by the
so I try to think of that. We've had a pretty good run with multiple same people continuing to buy the issues. So we do
yeah,
have a core group, but I've noticed like and I'm not an analytical person and I don't do statistics and I don't do pie charts and all
yeah,
that. I can't stand any of that. But for
yeah,
somebody that was to really come in and who has had a really analytical mind would probably look at and say, oh, look, and your third week of crowdfunding, you start to pick up traction and it goes down a little bit, then it goes up. And if you look over all the campaigns we've done,
yeah,
it probably would be the same. I
yeah,
tend to email all of my backers from previous issues to let them know that
yeah,
Great Cyclopean is up and about. The issue is moving, is available, and let's give a link and stuff like that. So I
yeah.
do that every time,
And
and we
then
do get
and then it's
sales.
getting on shows like this too, and getting
Yeah,
on new shows. That's the
yeah,
hardest part
yeah.
about this whole thing
It
is
really is,
finding new people to find out about your product.
and it's the most frustrating thing, and we've discussed this countless times on this show, on our show, on other shows, that that's the biggest area, the biggest deficit that Kiro Shack has is the marketing online. I
Yeah,
know that, if Chris was to be able to stay at home and not work a 40-hour-a-week job, he would be able to achieve that because he's very good at it. I I'm not. I'll be honest, I'm not. I know he said to me, I think Wednesday night show we were talking about, he goes, so how many shows did you pop into? I had like none because I feel so awkward. Like I'm just gonna sit in the chat and say, hi, Grace, I go by number 9. It just feels like just weird to me. And I
yeah. I definitely get that. I've done it, sort of.
it's just
You got to try and participate in the chat with what they're saying, looking
right,
at it,
exactly.
so you don't feel like. But some of it, if it's just comic based, you have no idea what the heck they're
Yeah, well,
talking about.
exactly, Rick, exactly. I'm like, oh, I don't know what to say to this. And then there's the drama streams. Oh my God, there's so many drama streams. And I
Yeah.
don't like to get into the drama. I'm like, just grow up. For the love of God, you sound like you're in ninth grade. Oh, who is that
Well, we got
handsome
Chris.
man? There's that handsome guy.
Okay, can we move these people? Can I move this?
He's here.
He's drawing, but he is here.
Okay.
He's
Hey, what
drawing.
happened? Why am I on top?
Because I
You should-
moved you because I'm going to be changing some things here in a second.
He's doing some things.
Let's.
I told them you were really into drawing the cardinal. You were working on a really cool
Well,
piece.
if I'm here to talk at all, I'll tell you guys the same thing I said last night. I am loving black and white art.
Yeah.
Loving it. I'm really getting into working with the black and white, and I can't wait to do Cyclopean 10 because I want to incorporate some of the stuff I've like picked up on. And it's stuff we all heard, Rick. We all know, when in doubt, black it out. We all know the power of light sources and stuff. But Yeah, when you start to wield the sword and it starts to feel a little lighter and balanced. Yeah, you start feeling like Conan. You
Yeah,
just
I do.
look back and you let that hair out. Yeah, and you say,
You
all right.
wanted him on, Rick. You wanted him on your channel. Are you sure?
Yeah. I don't know.
They were waiting for you to like really ask questions about the Great Cyclopean 9 because you are the creator
All
and
right,
you
I'll ask one.
okay, what is it?
Is the whole book in black and white?
No.
What part's in black and white then?
The Cardinal of Justice 2.
Well, I think I'm supposed to be answering the questions or asking the questions.
Oh, Rick, okay, let me ask you, what color is his eye?
Green.
Yeah.
Well, as I was saying to Diana when she first
Yes.
went on, so it's been a while since you guys have been on, since were going around doing crowdfunding number 7. So what has been up with the Great Cyclopean since then? We're obviously on number 9 here.
I haven't touched this show since 7.
Yeah.
No. Unfortunately, we tried to get you on for 8, but it just didn't happen. So I wasn't even sure. I only knew it was 7 because of going back in my archives and trying to get things set up for tonight. It's like, well, I wasn't sure whether it was 6 or 7 you were on for last, and it's like, but it was 7.
Yeah,
So
so 9 is we're coming up on secrets being revealed. Basically, we get confirmation on how he eats. We learn of the Great Cyclopia, which I will not say too much about, but she's very important to the story.
the Great Cycclopia. What's a Great Cyclopia?
Well, that would be the female version. You know, you have the Hulk, you have the She-Hulk, you have Superman, you have Supergirl, you have Cyclopia, you have Cyclopia.
So the female token character?
More or less, but she's much more in depth. If there's one thing about the Great Cyclopean, the book is loaded with I don't know if it's called satire or parody, but let's say both. And so there are characters like for a couple of issues we featured a guy called I equal some. Not anything spelled no O in the word. It's I equal an equal sign some, because he is the sum of his products. And he's kind of funny because if you know who ISOM is, I played a little bit with that, and he's a Bible verse spouting superhero. And one of his gimmicks is colors change when he's around. So you'll look at him and the eye on his chest will change colors throughout the book because of the joke of what happened in issue 1 of the other book where colors were weird and things like that. And then there's like the in issue 9, well, issue 8 actually, but issue 9 also features him. There's the Kung Fu fighting Fiber Frog. And, you know,
that sounds like it could be off of something.
Yes, it definitely is. But it's all in good. It's all in good fun.
The Pug Frogs.
Yeah, well, he's Fiber Frog for short, if that rings any bells. But
does he have a lot of fiber in his diet?
Actually, he does. What's the name of the fiber again? I wrote it. Cilia.
Is he the champion of eating fiber?
No. So the story behind him, surely you're familiar with the Master Mutator. He's been messing around with Cyclopean since like issue 2.
Yeah, a little bit.
Product. Yeah, well, Master Mutator made him. He came from a frog and human cells, and he merged it with cilia, which is the fiber contained in Metamucil. It's a dietary fiber, but Master Mutator made it sort of like a strengthening agent to the frog genes. And so we ended up with a humanoid frog that is highly trained in Kung Fu and extremely durable. The Fiber Frog.
Sounds interesting. And you say you introduced him in issue 8?
Yeah, actually, issue 8 is kind of funny because he was uploaded with a AI type knowledge. So he was created and then uploaded with all this knowledge of Kung Fu, and he was given a very generic
Sort of
kind
a Matrix like.
similar, yes. But here's the thing: he gets into battle with Captain Aura, and he says, you can't punch what you can't hit because he's very agile, and Captain Aura takes a few swings, can't hit him. And he says, well, actually, I can. And he hits him with an Aura Blast. And the frog misinterprets that as some sort of kung fu invisible punch and declares himself a humble student and wants to follow the master. And so issue 9, there's a lot of that where he's just like totally enamored with Captain Aura because he believes that he's used this, touchless punch on him. And he's like, oh, you are a master. So yeah, we have a lot of fun with it. But issue 9, really, Peter goes through a situation unrelated to what the group is going through. There's a group of heroes there to help him. They're defending him from the government, which is coming at him with a Zenith team, which is basically a group of heroes, but they've been ordered to go get him.
This sounds like something that's been developed in issue 8 as well, a super team.
As far back as 6, it started to develop. The Zenith team, the first wave of them showed up in 7, I think it was. It may have been the end of 6, and then they fight in 7. And it was 3 heroes who had come to arrest Cycclopian. Captain Aura basically kicks their butt, and I=Some shows up to kind of help because it was his sister's property, and nobody messes with his family,
Yeah.
But yes, it's been evolving, and the Zenith team is an elite group of heroes within the UFO, which is our regional or our universe's Avengers, for lack of a better name. It's the United. Wait a minute. Help me. Go ahead.
I can't help you.
No,
I was just going to say Justice League.
No, it's the United Foundation of Order, but I thought she was going to say it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry. I didn't know if you were talking to me or Rick.
No, no.
Like
I was talking to you, babe. I thought you were going to say something, so I was going to let you jump in.
So it's a UFO.
UFO, United Foundation of Order.
Name. So I kept that. That actually was born way before Cycclopian, but Zenith stands for their elite teams, and they have different units within that classification. So Captain Aura and I=Some and Cycclopian basically end up beating the heck out of the first wave, and then there's a second wave. And I introduced more characters. There's some fun characters in that one. No satire in that one, no parody. But I figured, I=Some and Fiber Frog were pretty good for now. I'll stay off the parody for an issue or 2.
Oh, just for an issue or 2?
For an issue or 2. That means it's still there, guys. It's still there.
Well, you got to get some sort of Canadian hero in there.
Oh, I was kind of thinking about that, but I can't think of an appropriate name. I like Canadian Shield, so I can't bastardize the name. You know what I mean? It's like, well, how do I do that without like making it bad? But one day it'll come to me. Right now, though, I'm focused on the Cardinal, which is part 2. Part 1 was featured in issue 8. It's black and white. And for those curious and broke or just don't want to buy it, issue 8 is available right now at HeroShack.com for free in PDF format. But you'll see like the first, I think it's first 30 pages are the great Cycclopian story. And then there's an 8-page, part 1 of the Cardinal. And what that does is that explores his origin.
Yeah. Diana was saying that you've added a new feature about another hero called the Cardinal. What's that all about?
So the Cardinal, the original Cardinal, was created by Eric Tamburino, who is an author that I've come to know and love over the last, I don't know, probably year or so. And his character was very compelling, and I started talking with him about adapting it. And I needed a way to tie it to the modern day because I wanted to bring Cardinal into the Cycclopian world, and he is in the Cycclopian world. But what we found was the way to bring him into my universe was not going to be cohesive with the story that he told. But we both liked the story that I created to put him in it. So this is like I'm calling him the Cardinal of Justice. If we want to get technical, I guess you could say that he's an alternate Cardinal. And there's another universe with Eric's Cardinal, but this is truly inspired by his cardinal, so I've carried him in the credits. And as unlikely as it is, if we ended up selling the character, he would certainly get a large portion of that. The character design is his. I took it from a drawing that he did when he was like in 6th grade.
Yeah.
Which was wild, my brother. I got to tell you, because God, Eric knows I'm not saying anything he wouldn't admit handily. It was a young man's drawing. It was rough.
Yeah.
So
as I was
I took
telling
it
Diana,
and transformed it.
Yeah, as I was telling Diana before you came on, I actually, sort of know of another Christian creator with a character of the same name, the Cardinal.
Yep.
And
There's
he
a
had a similar look to the
yeah.
one that you had seen. So I'm
I
just
don't
wondering
doubt
whether
that.
it's the
Did they
same.
use the same logo? Because the logo
Yeah.
I'm using is basically the basic, I think it's public domain crap logo that's out there with minor modifications. And I've already thought about, like, I may end up having to change that if somebody gives me a cease and desist. But until that happens, I'm running with it.
Yeah, like the one that you had showed me before, I think the one that he came up with originally, it seemed very familiar to the one that I had seen before. Whenever I get settled, I might try and find some stuff that I have on, that I drew of this Cardinal character.
Right.
Because
cool.
we were in a group on, I think we still both are in the same group, but we were supposed to be doing a multi crossover of 10 or 12 different companies. Christian companies.
Well, it's interesting because the Cardinal, and this may be something of debate, but the Cardinal is Catholic. He's in Vatican City working as basically a worker for the Roman Catholic Church. And it's funny because Eric is very Catholic. So I've been drawing in honor of him. And so there are things like I drew my first Mother Mary, who's looking over him as he prays, like things like that. And like I've drawn a rosary now like 3 times. And it's rather funny because I'm waiting for someone to say, wow, what are you, Catholic? And well, no, this is what creativity does. Like I might do a Muslim character somewhere down the line. Doesn't mean that I'm Muslim. For those wondering, I lean Messianic. I'm more like a home Baptist Messianic. If there are any Christians out there wondering, well, what is this guy? I believe in Jesus Christ, the Son of God, God in the flesh. I say the path to salvation. I'm just like 99% of the Christians. I just have some weird labels that I put on it.
Good night, Spoon. I say the word companies loosely. It's there are several Christians out there with their own little, like I said, companies that have created superheroes. Most of them have not gotten anywhere. They've maybe produced a comic or two, at best.
Hey, I have to say, by the way, I have to say hi to your chat, parasocial audience, and good night, Spoon. I didn't know the chat was on. I didn't even know we were live until like a few minutes ago, and I realized it.
Okay. We've been live for like 40 minutes. Over 40
I was
minutes.
going to say, we've been on for a while there.
Yeah. Yeah. But
so you brought me in after you had the eye candy on?
Chris, tell Rick the supervillain as Canadian Shield should be a Jesuit French Canadian Trudeau apocalypse.
Well, it would be an interesting satire.
Oh my gosh.
We could start like World War III of the superheroes, because Cycclopian is supposed to be an American icon. Like that's what the government wanted him to be. And of course, he's resistant, not because he doesn't love America, but because he doesn't want to do hit jobs. He's not a guy who wants to go kill. Yeah. And the government wants basically a machine. See monster, go kill. See villain, go kill. And the kid just built like that.
Right.
Yeah, well, we saw that he was, even in issue 2 or 3, we saw that he was able to communicate with the creature, guide it to go away. It was leaving stuff alone, and then the government just, we're going to kill it anyways.
Yep.
It's like you said I didn't have to kill it if not need be, if I could, get it to go away. But
Yep.
like
And
you
he's
guys go back on your word. So what the hell?
and he's dealing with their betrayal now because he went from being their star to let's hunt him down and bring him back and lock him up
Yeah,
because he refused to follow orders. And interestingly enough, Captain Orr, who was a government boy, said, "You know what? I'm standing by Peter." So, in turn, he called for help from a place called Mantown, and that is where Wiretap and Cardinal come from. And they show up in issue 8 to help, and in issue 9, they're still there helping. I don't know about you, Rick, but one of the weird things, and I imagine if I had a full team working on it and we were doing monthly books, I wouldn't have so much of an issue. But like the last 4 or 5 issues have taken well over a year to do, and they all happened within like a few days. You know what I mean? Like, so the time warp is weird. Like,
that's well, obviously, when I originally created my universe and I created a bunch of the timeline for my universe, everything was supposed to happen in that quote unquote year and a half. Like I have 18 issues, that okay, this is what for Canadian Shield, he's in this, going from this town to this town, and fighting this villain, not specifics, and like monthly comics are supposed to. So now, by the time I get to 18, hopefully, eventually I'm going to be coming out with these a little faster. So it's not like a year or a year and a half in between each book. It's supposed to be a month.
So tough. I guess issue 9 was, or issue 8 was kind of surprising, and issue 9 together. People weren't aware that I was going to be done 9 already. And it was kind of funny because the guys were like, "What? You're launching what?" "Yeah, I'm launching 9."
Yeah,
but I am at a rapid acceleration. I'm not trying to be. I'm actually trying to slow down.
Well, see, that's why you should have went for my higher doing Canadian Shield 3. That way we could have slowed you down on Cycclopian.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want to turn in any crap either.
Trust me, I won't let you turn in crap.
I look at other artists like, okay, so you must obviously know the guy I look at for inspiration that we know is Dillard. Like, he is my favorite independent artist. And like every time he jumps up a level, I'm like, oh, now I'm 101 steps behind him. But he drives me, like I look at his art and I do think I'm seeing rapid improvement because I'm looking at his art, like I'm like, how did he make that look so cool? So you start dissecting his use of gray tones and just solid blacks, man.
Good night, Spoon. Are you meaning Diana and Chris? Yes, they are married. They're a couple.
Yes. She just can't be in the same room as me.
Not allowed. No.
No, we have two different offices.
I have an office, he has an office, and we found that streaming side by side is okay once in a great while, but not.
No, it hurt way too much. My shins were black and blue. I had pinch marks all on my arm.
That's not true.
Okay, there were bite marks, but I'm not talking anything.
Okay, what you two do in bed, we don't want to hear about.
Oh no, this was in the studio. I mean, oh God, you don't want me to go there. I have to go to bed wearing armor.
Stop. I don't bite.
Oh.
I nibble.
All right, that's enough. But yeah, so basically, the Great Cycclopian is ongoing. We are concluding at issue 12. My intent was to establish 12 as our first omnibus and go into 13, but my editorial team had a fit. So I don't know what I'm doing after 12. I may be doing a one-shot or something fun.
Well, you could put the 12 issues into a thing and call it a graphic novel. Maybe not an omnibus.
Well, it's going to be all 12 issues.
Yeah, so
I don't know what else to call it.
Well,
I'm just making my rule.
Issues. Would you change it to like chapter 1, which would be issue 1, chapter 2 would be issue 2?
No. You just say you call it a collection or a graphic novel. that's what they do. You know, they put like a bunch of issues for DC and Marvel together and stuff like that. You know, they put 5 or 6 issues. You know, this is 12. You know, so it's a little thicker. I don't think it'd be omnibus size, but
Dun, 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 dun.
good. Good Night Spoon says your office is cooler, Diana, than Chris's.
Not anymore. Look, this has got to make me cooler. I got
That's
the great.
why he's okay.
Actually, I'm not using my green screen, but yeah, she has a very cool office. She does fun things down there, like make rag dolls, and does embroidery, and
I'm sure they want to hear about this.
all sorts of stuff. Yeah,
Well,
it's really
you should actually show off if you have it nearby the Canadian, not Canadian Shield. I'm wanting you to get one of those, but the
I know.
Cycclopian plushie.
You know what? I literally don't have any. I don't think. I think they're all. Up. We're gonna go to.
Chris has one.
Listen,
Do
guys.
you have one, honey?
Listen.
I think he has one.
Her room is the coolest, though.
Oh, dear God.
Very cool.
Oh my God.
Look at that. I've got a whole Cycclopian army here. This is probably
Why? Those are all my practice
this is
ones.
one of the earliest ones, and she doesn't think it.
I would like to see that. One of those is the Canadian Shield. That last one that he was showing.
You need to send me a very simplified
Look,
picture,
honey.
and I'll see what I can do.
What's wrong with this picture, honey?
What's wrong with that picture?
This one can't.
Somebody's taking his belt off.
He's a
the one who
nasty
loses it.
one. He's a naughty Cycclopian.
But
Also,
My belt is falling off. That's before I decided to embroider. Those are the ones where the eye is sort of printed out. And now what I'm doing is I've taken it up a notch a little bit. Let's see if this is done. So, no, this isn't done yet. I can't show you that one.
This is one of the original prototypes she did, and she used marble cloth. So
Oh yeah, I was practicing on the design.
yeah, so he's literally marble cloth, which I also have as a curtain. But
Thank
the
you,
original
Parasocial.
Cycclopian, yeah.
I'm trying
Elk is saying, Parasocial, who's also known as Elk here, is saying Cycclopian is my favorite independent character design. It's brilliant.
Thank
Good night. And Good Night Spoon is saying that I'm going to ask for that plushie 8 feet tall. No, I'm not.
Oh, Diana, that would be awesome.
What's that?
Can you make like an 8-foot tall stuffy?
Yeah, I probably could, but no, I'm
Now,
not.
that would be worth some money.
It would be.
You
It would
could,
take
you could sell that for like $30.
I'm so bummed. I thought I had it.
But,
So
something I was going to say earlier too, Chris. I would, about your art. Your art is, I would never offer to have you draw something and pay you for it if I didn't think it was good enough to be done.
Thank you, brother. I go through, and I bet you do too. Every artist does this. And today was hard for me for a myriad of reasons that I don't want to get into because it's just one of the normal flows of roller coaster life. But today when I got home, I was like, Diana, I might quit making comics. And she's like, why?
I said, what happened on Twitter?
Yeah, it had nothing to do with
Contact
Twitter.
you.
No, it was just a conversation I had, and I was just bummed out.
Yeah.
Because, and this happens, the person I was talking to doesn't read Cycclopian, even though I've been like, yo, bro, it's for free. And he's like, okay. And, I was talking to him. He's like, it's just not my thing. And then he started showing me Japanese stuff that he's into. And I was like, I love anime and manga. The Cycclopian is just as good. And he's like, yeah, well, and it's because of who he was. I was like, but I can't. I was a little.
Again,
Yeah, well, he can't know without reading it whether it is just as good.
Right.
And unfortunately,
right.
some people just don't want to give things a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thinking we need to do a cartoon, and I'm trying to learn how to animate. But you know what's funny?
What?
No, you need to do a manga version of Cycclopian.
Well, what's hard is I want to do a cartoon, but learning the application requires time. And I
Yeah.
love drawing so much, I haven't been able to pull myself away. Like
Right.
literally, I'm staying up and like we just bought a PS5 because I wanted to play with my friends and Jace and my son. Is I haven't played with anybody. It sits there most times, and I'm like, that's a big investment, and I just haven't been able to get off the artboard. I'm like, nope, got to draw some more.
Yeah.
Got to draw some more. So it's been a problem. It's an addiction, and Diana won't put me in rehab. She says, nope, keep drawing. You've
Yeah.
got to keep drawing.
Well, the thing is, with for the PS5 or whatever, I'm not sure, but for at least the anime, that's drawing, animated stuff, that's drawing. You just repeating a lot with just like
It is, but I think what I want to do, well, I know what I want to do is find an app, and Procreate has one that I bought, and I still don't understand it, but the new software is getting so that it's easier and easier to animate without learning how to or having to draw every panel. And it might be a little cheesy. I'm not sure. It might end up looking a little more like South Park than Disney. You know what I mean? I don't know how good I can make it, but I haven't even been able to get past the rudimentary stuff because I haven't
Had the time.
I haven't had the willpower. No, I've had the time, and I've ended up
Yeah, that's true too. You draw
like some of this artwork. Let me show you something. I'm in love with this stuff. I just finished this today, and it's going to go through a few more revisions, I'm sure. But like, let me see if I can bring that and get it to flip. Come on, flip. There we go. All right, so this is like a prayer session the guy's going through, and like the detail that's going into it is just mind-blowing because it's like the black and whites and the gray tone. And
what you might have to do is start out for the animation simple.
Well, yeah, and the program
that way you get used to it and all that.
Flash was like, where you could do like you could make like a skeleton and pop art on it and then animate the skeleton. I think that's what I can do with this one, but I haven't learned the particulars. Like I know the generals because they're all kind of the same. You have a timeline, you insert keyframes, things like that.
Good Night Spoon says he would recommend something with skeletal structures, moho or puppet pins.
I'll have to check those out. Because so far the Procreate one is kind of stumped me, and I thought it would become intuitive. Too. Yeah. And I'm gonna say the terrible word, but I keep waiting for AI to come up with some sort of solution where I can just like,
oh my God.
No, listen, why don't they have an app where I can load my own characters in, my own artwork, and have it animated?
Yeah, you would think it would, and I think they're out there, but they're really expensive, those ones.
That's the problem.
I tried to do it myself, but it's like, unfortunately with us that do everything or most, shall we say most of it, it's just hard. And actually, I might actually be having a nice opportunities shortly. You guys there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm here
for a second. Did Diana's camera go up at the same time?
No, just before yours.
Oh, that's weird. Diana, you're weird.
I'm not weird.
But I might be having I have a niece who's going to college right now and learning how to do video games.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Jinx on you.
So my dad was telling me about it a few months ago, and then she was visiting my dad, her and her mom, and he was mentioning about doing my stuff for a project or whatever hers, and she seemed, according to my dad, she seemed really into it. I've actually got to contact my dad, who's supposed to send me information the last couple of days.
Wow. That's awesome.
But yeah,
Cross Comics. I'm looking you up on YouTube.
Who?
Rick. Me? Why?
Oh, yeah, because I couldn't chat. I couldn't get into the chat that way. Let's see. Yeah, so I was gonna say, because you were talking, I was gonna type, but I'll say it anyways. AI has already ruined, to me, commercial music in terms of if I wanted to jingle before, I would have to either sit down and record one, find someone who would do it for me, you know, a band or something, or adopt a third-party free royalty type piece of music. Now
Yeah.
you go to something like Suno, and if you can write a decent set of lyrics, which I've always been able to do, thank God, you can get a decent sounding crap melody, no time at all. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still to the point where it's very canned. It doesn't sound great in most cases,
Yeah.
but I can
Well,
see.
we've showcased a bunch of Sunni stuff here for Canadian Shield, so Jeff Ferry's characters.
Well, my last two pre-shows were nothing but Cycclopian takes because
Oh
I
my
was like,
gosh.
what am I
We
supposed
need
to
to
do with them?
change the lyrics.
Well, I
And,
have one that's so funny, Rick. It starts off, it's a live performance. I don't know how I got it right, but you hear the band, you hear the crowd, and then at the end he does this little like the great, the great, the great, and
Oh,
then he goes,
it's
Cycclopian, and the crowd's
gives me a
cheering
headache.
back at him, but it goes on for like 2 minutes, and she's
Oh.
like, "Can you stop it?" And I'm like, "No." Now it's like South Park jokes, you know, where or Family Guy, you know, where they just repeat something over and over. And
Yeah.
she's like, "Stop it!"
Oh my God.
I think Goodnight Spoon was saying Adobe Animate, for example. I think they might do what you're saying, put your stuff in, and they animate
Oh,
it.
we have
I'm not
that.
sure whether that's what Goodnight Spoon meant by that, but he's saying AI is horrible for the environment as well. It takes 15 times
Kind of
the
the energy
energy
consumption.
for the single person.
So
I think that's a little off.
here's the one thing I think we need to understand about AI, because I think this is what's going to happen. The energy consumption is huge, but they're going to look at AI and say, make yourself, you know, energy efficient and come up with new ways of generating energy that won't hurt the environment. Like they'll start using AI to improve AI. And my fear really about AI is within a generation, we're going to have a bunch of vegetables following the best idea the AI had for this person in your life. You know, like, hey, I've got a kid, he's 7 years old. Well, AI says that he's got a very acute talent for math. So we're going to center in on math. And that's all this kid's going to, you know what I mean? I'm afraid it's going to be.
It can get like anything that might be good, it's overused or, you know, sort of, I don't know, prostituted out for all kinds of weird stuff that shouldn't be happening.
Well, what happens, and this is kind of like we're stepping out here now, but what happens if in 100 years, we don't have to do anything? We're being managed by a benevolent AI that takes care of our needs, and we just go through our lives as creative creatures.
Wow.
Sort of as we've seen in some of those Star Trek, the original Star Trek.
Yeah, possibly.
You know, civilizations.
And the only reason I'm saying that, Diana, is because what will AI need us for? We'll become the pets. They'll be
Imagine.
taking care of us.
That's like, all right. So is that going to be your next book?
It could be. I don't know, unless somebody else has already written it. Somebody else has to have. This has to have been thought of.
Maybe. Guys, I will be right back, okay?
Okay.
Don't believe her. Last time she told me that.
When she gets back, maybe we should finally get on to the campaign a little bit, let people see this campaign.
Yeah, that's another thing. I'm a little disappointed. We got 3 backers and already went over, which is wonderful. But I don't know how to continually generate backers. And shows have never done us that well, but I don't know if it's just, you know, I see guys doing a lot less as far as output and quality, and they get a lot more sales. And I know the one thing they do I don't do is they end up in chats and videos every night, you know?
Yeah, that's the main thing. I think you've got to go on a promotion tour when you're doing stuff like this. You know, take an hour or 2 out to do stuff.
I was thinking about hiring a spokesperson.
Yeah, the only problem with that is, you know, Diana is getting a little bit good at this, knowing stuff, but you are the one that knows the main stuff.
Oh, yeah. No, if I hired a spokesperson, I would be paying real money and they would be like learning like everything. Like they would know it better than me. And it will never happen. Don't worry. But like, it would be so cool if I just had like a youngin' who was charming and well-versed and just go out and be a commercial for me tonight. Here's $500. That's your job tonight. You know what I mean? But dreams. It's not like in the 20th century where you basically drew books and you went to a convention now and then, and your publisher handled all the advertising and all the promotion.
Yeah, well, you are your own publisher, so
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's not like that anymore,
Yeah, and it's getting out there, getting into the right spot and all that for, sharing stuff. Shareholders don't even have couples. It's 100 years, said Tim.
I'm back.
Okay, so she's back.
I'll be right back. I'm working on one of my eyes for Cycclopian while we chat.
Okay,
Well, remember,
so
he's only got one eye.
Well,
so
I meant, yeah. I know.
Yeah.
the link is in the description for people who want to go check it out personally. Here, let me put a link in the actual chat and link it to the top.
Hey, I know this campaign. And the Nightmare is in this one.
Oh, yeah. That's a cool character. I think he's going to be a really fun character.
Yeah, he's interesting. Oh, excuse me, I was taking a drink.
10 minutes. There we go. Now that message is pinned to the top.
Thank you.
Yay. Well, I can tell you they won't be having a child anytime soon. And genetically,
Tim. Could
without
be.
giving away too much, it's hard to say. They might have a normal human being.
Yeah.
Genetically, it would be possible if that's not giving away too much.
Well, you don't say too much more.
But odds are, as far out there as they both are with the one eye configuration, it would be very unusual for them to be different.
One-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater.
Yeah. Hey, 100 years from now, I'm going to fly my own spaceship to a primitive planet, build tetrahedrons, and probe till I can.
Anal probe.
No, honey. I think he's no.
No.
I think that's a sci-fi reference.
Okay, Peter.
Your butt. Isn't it? An anal probe? Parasocial. That's what you're talking about, isn't it? Oh, sorry, Rick. You're going through the campaign.
No problem.
Oh, my God. I'm so
Why
sorry.
we don't sell, because we don't let people go through our campaign well.
All right. No, I'm going to. I'm not. Nope.
All right,
Peter is
Diana.
in the
Diana, go into your cell mode.
Oh, me?
Sure.
But I'm not. Okay. Peter is in a fight for his life while Captain Aura, Cardinal Wiretap, and the Kung Fu fighting Fiber Frog defend him from the Zenith team. So that is a great Cycclopian.
Why does that say Kung Fu fighting?
What's that?
It's
There's a
Kung
typo
Fun.
there. Yeah.
Kung Fun. Kung Fun should be
There's
Kung Fu.
Guess what I'm doing right now?
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay,
That's
okay.
funny.
So we've talked about Captain Aura before. We talked about Cardinal. We talked about the whole Zenith team. We talked about Kung Fu fighting Fiber Frog.
Yeah.
That is a mouthful. What is it with this Wiretap? Who is Wiretap? Do we
so officially,
what can we, say about him?
Wiretap is the son of Captain Aura. And he has very similar powers, but he is younger. He's more 21st century. He let's see, what else can I say about him? His suit actually contains ways of using the aura power more creatively than the captain's setup. And because of that, he's got a different set of powers. For instance, you'll see him flying in issues 7, 8, and 9, actually 8 and 9. And it's because his suit is using the aura power differently than Captain Aura's.
Yes.
Captain Aura has never flown. He has never been interested in it, whereas Wiretap is very excited to fly. And he takes advantage of technology.
Captain Aura's never flown? I thought we've seen them in an airplane before.
Well, I mean, yeah, unassisted. He has jumped from the airplane. That was fun. I remember when I thought I was a good artist then. That's the thing.
See, that's just following with style.
Well, every time I do these, right, I think that like each one is better. So like when I drew Captain Aura jumping from a plane, it looked incredible to me. And now I'm like, oh yeah, I would do it a little differently this time. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, there it is.
So
Okay.
Wiretap too, I wanted to add. So Wiretap is not necessarily a younger version of Captain Aura, because like Chris says, he uses some kind of technology that takes the aura, and he's able to do things that Captain Aura can't do. Right? Yeah.
Yep.
So he's kind of a cool character. He is fashioned out from a real person named
Well,
Joey.
and the way that it's brought together, there's a reason that he has a different, not set of powers, but a different way of using them.
Mhm.
And that comes clear next issue, actually, in issue 10.
Yeah. Well, it could be similar to, say, Green Lantern, where each Green Lantern...
Stop, Rick! Rick, stop! You're spoiling it. Damn it! Because the suit can focus the aura much better than the raw power of Captain Aura, and that was exactly how I described it to Diana when I gave her the pitch. It's like the Green Lantern, Rick.
Well, I was just going to say, each Green Lantern can use constructs, but the constructs that they each come up with is wildly differently.
Well, Wiretap will be
Hal Jordan versus John Stewart, or versus Kyle Rayner, or some of the other Lanterns that we don't know too well.
Wiretap's constructs will be much more primitive, but they are extensions of the aura, and they are much more functional than just a invisible punch. But they're not going to be like, hey, look, I created an aura fax machine so we can send that contract over to the headquarters. You know what I mean? It won't be that intricate. Although I don't think Green Lantern has really gotten that bad either, although maybe in the 70s.
No, I don't think he has either, but it's just, to me, that's what I thought of Green Lantern. And, it's obviously it's with what you were going for, sort of.
Well,
so
it's funny because it's sort of natural.
It's what, if I just with that little bit that you said get it, a lot of other people will that are comic fans,
That's good though, isn't it?
Thankfully, I don't know that any of my readers are actually watching this, so I'll probably be very fortunate in that case. Our main backers primarily are offline, which is rather interesting. You think with all the indie support out there and all the, between Comicsgate and Iron Age and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But all of our growth has been offline. Almost none of it has been through online avenues.
So this is you fighting for Peter's body, mind, and soul. Introducing Nightmare.
Yes, an intentional play
Cycclopian.
on words. But it actually has a real reason. He is the mayor of the night for Cycclopian. So when Peter is awake,
like a night nurse?
No, when Peter's awake, he controls the world that he sees. He is the conscious personality. When he sleeps, Nightmare comes up and he leads in the mind of Peter. So Queen Sting is basically trying to take over Peter's body as Cycclopia, and Nightmare is the unknown entity that she was unaware of that comes up in the whole process.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just kind of gave out a lot more than I have on my show.
Oh yeah, you pretty much have, but that's okay. I mean, hopefully it's interesting enough that people listening to the stream will check it out.
But I don't want to be one of those guys who doesn't give away enough.
Yeah,
like I've heard people go, "I've got a great story, Rick, but I can't share it because I can't."
Yeah, it's definitely a hard to balance. I know. Once upon a time, I used to give away everything, like or 99% of stuff. At some point, I realized I have to hold back a little bit.
Mhm.
It's that's nice balancing act that you have to figure out how to do. To
Mhm.
get stuff.
Yeah, to get it right. Yeah. And there
Yeah.
is stuff that I've held back on because, well,
In some
because.
places, you'll share more than others, and not. So
Well, this time I basically laid out the surprises of Nightmare and Cyclopia, but that's okay because there are more surprises.
yeah.
There are. That's true.
um,
So far,
and
you've got three backers. Your keep it all modes. You've got $795 US of your $500 goal. So you've made it. So
well, that's a
congratulations.
fantastic average too. So like,
Yeah.
we really are blessed. I'm not complaining at all, but I got to figure out how to get like these are obviously big ticket buyers to get that high. I want to get
Mhm.
like $15 sales out there, and that's the hard one that I'm having with, which is
Yeah.
weird. You would think that would be the easy
Right.
one to sell.
Right.
Um. So okay. Well, we have the story here. Peter finds himself in turmoil as he's facing a cerebral attack from the parasite known as Queen Sting, while Captain Aura, Cardinal, Wiretap, and the Kung Fu Fighting Fiber Frog defend against another wave of combatants from the Zenith team, Cindy and Cycclopia. The terrible nightmare premiere in this amazing full color 30-page feature. The mysteries of the great Cycclopian are unfolding fast.
Dun, 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 dun.
Now, so the regular story is both stories being fully color, or is
No.
with the 30
That's
pages, or
that's the Cyclopean story is 30 pages. The Cardinal story will be at least 8, but it's probably going to be a little more than that.
I
And
told you.
what do you mean?
I told Rick. I said I think it's about 8, but it's probably going to be more because it's
Yeah.
Christmas.
Well, because I'm feeling it, and I've done a couple of full page drawings for it. And I don't want to pull the cheapo thing, like it's bad enough when people like use full white or full black pages. This is like
Mhm.
it's still a full splash page, but I'm like, I don't want to rip people off. So I'll probably have a couple of more pages than 8. It'll probably end up being about a 40-page book. And I will note that when I know, but I don't really know. So I don't want to lie to people and say, it's gonna be 45 pages if I don't know.
Right.
yeah,
You're talking the
and,
book, the overall book. Yeah.
yeah. And this, of course, is the cover for issue 9 that we see
The
there next
main
to it.
cover, yes.
The main cover.
Oh, the main cover. So that says there
Yes.
might be another cover.
There is. Because of the people that do buy from us offline, they all expect an alternate cover. So I've been coming up with an alternate cover now since what, issue 5, honey?
Yeah, pretty
They've been-
much.
Yeah, 5 was actually a really pitiful drawing of Captain Aura as an alternate cover that I threw together, and they loved it. So they look for it when they buy my books. They buy the bulk, and they want
Mhm.
both covers in it. So I got to have 2 covers.
Yeah. Alex says EVS learned the comic sale lesson. He averages about 2,000 backers, but he loads up, loads up, and loads
With
up
swag.
with swag and gets
Yeah.
the $500,000 campaign or million.
Yeah. And EVS, I hope to catch his ability someday. I'm still working on it, but I am quite
Yeah.
happy with what I got. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, these colors are looking great, by the way, for these pages that we're seeing here.
those
Mhm.
YouTube videos are starting to pay off, Rick. Have you ever watched any of the coloring ones?
Or like on YouTube. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I've watched
like
a
I've just
couple.
been watching silly tutorials, and like there'll be
Yeah.
some like young lady, and this is how I pick my colors, and and it's all starting to click. Like I already kind of knew color theory, but it's been a long time, and it wasn't feeling right, and it's starting to come back. And tutorials
Yeah.
always help.
Mhm.
Yeah, EVS did have that little thing about DC going on. Uh, yeah, and I'm enjoying it. So there you have this is my favorite part of the whole book, but there's Queen Sting on the right there, in her true form, looking all fun and dandy because she's been through the ringer, and right now she's being digested by Peter as we look in there, because she was injected into his eye, and well, he eats through his eye, so it's a nasty proposition. And down here you see 3.5 pages of the Cardinal artwork, and I only have 3.5 up there because I'm still working on it. I'm actually, let me see, how many pages do I have now? 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 6 pages done of it, and I probably won't post any more of the Cardinal pages. I don't know, I might do one of him in costume. In this issue, he does get his costume. Last issue in part 1, he did not get a costume, but yeah, he gets it in issue 2. The hero's journey and stuff.
The Love Lost t-shirt.
Yes, Diana really dug this artwork, and she was like, "That would make a cool t-shirt." So there we have it.
Yeah, I thought so.
Love Lost.
Love
t-shirt.
Lost.
Yeah.
Nightmare. I gotta say that.
Yeah.
Instead of saying nightmare, say nightmare.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's planned that way. So this is the actual alternate cover, which is the same artwork as the Love Lost t-shirt. And yeah, she's got that pretty blue eye, and he's got that gorgeous green eye. They're just arm in arm there.
Yeah, hers looks like an aqua, greenish blue.
Yeah. Well, it's not like navy blue or anything.
Yeah.
And actually, you'll see the color of her eyes change, or her eye changes throughout the story.
Yeah.
These are the metal cards. We do metal cards now every campaign. Last time I did character cards with power ratings on the back, and I've already heard from backers that they wish I had done it again, but I wanted to do something a little different.
Yeah, you want to do something different. I agree with that.
So this
unless
is
you're
going
unless you're adding to it, like you could add.
I'm going to next time. I'm going to do like the villains, because I didn't know there was an interest for it, but I wanted to do an art one. So this one has all the panels that I like.
Well, this one's a cool one, though. Yeah.
Issue 9, and when you look at the back sides, they're going to form this picture.
Yeah, and this is something that they did a long time ago in comics.
Yep.
The back sides would make a picture.
Well, these are the metal cards, and as you notice, there's a square missing or a rectangle, and that's because I've tied the 9th card to a stretch goal, and if we hit that stretch goal, it'll complete the picture, and yeah, that'll be really cool. Now you might think
you should have made it the one in the middle that was missing.
I could have, but I didn't even think of that. Actually, I still could, but I'm not going to do that now. Actually, no, I could I couldn't because it's up in the tiers. So if I changed it, it would have to be like unofficial because you can't mess with the tiers once you set them.
Well, you can mess with them just as long as they're not bought.
Yes, that's true. But we've already sold 2 of the big packages with them in it.
Yeah, so they've already been bought. So maybe next time if we do it.
So this is the first stretch goal at $1,000, which we're $300 off of right now. The Cycclopia magnet, which is a 4x4 magnet. If you're a previous backer, it's just like our 4x4 Cycclopian refrigerator magnet, but it is, of course, Cycclopia. She does not appear like that in the book. This is actually concept art, and she could appear like that in the future, but I wanted to share it. I had a lot of fun with it, and I want it on my refrigerator, so it's a stretch goal. The $2,000 goal, which may sound lofty, but we've hit over 2,000, I think, the last 3 campaigns, will be that secret metal card that completes the 9-card set. And we haven't announced $3,000 yet because I don't want to seem overly confident.
Well, it's not even that. It's just like it's nice to add as the campaign goes along. So if we reach the 2,000, like, oh my gosh, let's go for, let's put up for the next, you know what I mean? The next stretch goal.
And you can read the first 8 issues of Cycclopian over on your website as well for free.
Right.
And now if you're like really, guys, if you don't have money to buy a book and you want to get involved, they're there. And next month, or not month, but next issue, when I put out issue 10, issue 9 goes up on the website.
Right.
And I do that because I send kids there all the time. I work with kids in schools, and they go there to read the PDFs for free. So I'm going to keep those up to date and stocked.
We do have a PDF kind of tier. We're throwing $5 just to keep the PDF tiers going. It is always really nice. It's kind of like a coffee where you give the artist a couple bucks just for their work. So we do offer that. And some of our backers have done that before.
I know that there have been a couple of backers along the way that wanted to support the kids project, basically, and so they've added that into their order, which is nice, you know. And not that we're looking to get rich off of it, but it does cost us money monthly, and
well, yeah, we pay, web, so we do a lot, and we have a lot of fees, so it does help.
Right.
But
and I mean,
we wanted to make sure the kids have access to the comics. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly what it comes down to.
It's really all about the kids.
Right.
Yeah. And because kids don't have money, right?
Exactly.
Well, and the money they do have, they don't generally spend on comics unless they're invested. They do get money, most of them, they get allowances or whatnot. And those usually go to video games, food, snacks, movies.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, but unfortunately, like when we were kids, they had somewhere where you could go buy something like this, mainly more DC and Marvel, or Archie, where you could go to your local variety store and they'd have comics where you could buy, right? Or eventually comic book stores where you could go and buy. Unfortunately, you guys aren't in a lot of comic book stores where it's readily available.
If you guys are in Worcester, Massachusetts,
Fitchburg
too, or Fitchburg only? Did I get it wrong?
Both.
Yeah, Worcester and
both
Fitchburg.
Both locations.
Woo!
And Holy Molly's we were in. We've got to refresh our stock up there. We're in a couple, but again, they're smaller bookstores. Well, That's Entertainment is much bigger, but
I was actually surprised we sold out there. And that's the thing, like, it's hard to gauge the support you're getting if you're using online resources and it's not booming online. Because when we go talk to people, when we go to conventions, when we do our presentations for classes and stuff, the support's there.
Yeah.
And it really is a different world, which it's funny because you walk, like, say, into Twitter and you might hit the wrong crowd and they're going to hate everything you do, no matter what you do.
Right.
But when you step out, I can go into a classroom and draw stick figures and they adore it. You know what I mean? And when you draw better than stick figures, oh my goodness, they all want to learn. How about that?
Yeah. So we're going to start now on tiers, the perks, whatever rewards, I guess they call them here. Depending on what site you're on, what they're called, right?
I call them awesome.
So the tiers, the perks, whatever.
Yeah. For $15 plus shipping, you can get number 9.
Well, no, it's free shipping in the United States, but shipping throughout the rest of the world. So it says plus shipping, but if you look in the description, free shipping in the United States. Yeah.
Okay, well, so it is.
I just wanted to make that clear. I was upset about that, but they made me do that unless I was going to do free shipping worldwide, and I would love to, but the cost just to Canada. Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Out of office. Kick him out, Rick.
Yeah. Well, I know you guys would never want to do it this way, and I'm not sure whether it would cost this least thing. Gruck Comics, when he sent stuff to me, he just got like a plain envelope, rigid envelope, and put the comic in that.
Ooh.
And
but it's not. Go ahead.
It has a lot less protection. I'll agree, and that's probably not something you guys want to do. But I think it only cost him like $5 to ship it to me.
Where's he shipping from?
Somewhere in the States. I can't remember offhand. So.
Ooh, we'll look into it.
Yeah, like I said, it's a lot less protection. It's because you have a lot less weight and all that. it's
Yeah.
obviously something that's up to you. You know what you do.
Yeah.
It's a way to put down shipping costs, but
Mhm.
you know that it's a big thing in shipping, weighing those costs. How much packaging do I want to use to
Right.
make sure it's secure? And I
Well, I
might hopefully
know.
I don't have to, you know, reship.
I think we just need to assimilate Canada, and then the shipping will come down. What do you think, Rick? Can we start negotiations?
I don't know. Alk or Parasocial audience says if any Christian comic book creators are visiting a con in northern Alberta, you're welcome to couch surf at my place in exchange for buying me a Tim Hortons breakfast sausage.
Ugh, Tim Hortons big in Canada, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
That's the only
maybe if
reason
I
I've
come
heard
out
the
that
name.
way. That I believe he's in Edmonton. Maybe if I get a thing out in Edmonton in the next couple of years, I will do that out. Because I have been to Saskatoon. I've thought about going to Edmonton, but I got to get things settled in my life first before I do too many cons that are far away.
Right.
But still, plus shipping, even if it's free shipping for the States, that does mean the shipping just happens to be free, so you don't have to pay anything extra.
Right. So you pay $15 if you're in the States. The plus shipping is if it's out of United States. And you go by
Yeah.
country. And typically the weight of just our comic is about 2.5 pounds, if that, with the box and everything. So it's not outrageous. But
Yeah.
I
The
will look
bling
into
matters too, because we usually end up
right.
putting quite a bit of bling in, and that changes.
Yeah, but Rick, I'm gonna ask our post office about that because that's
Yeah.
a lot cheaper. You know.
Yeah. Well,
'Cause
you know
Even if it
what?
was just to get you an issue, just to get you one until we actually see you.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, the thing is, what I would suggest, just go buy a rigid mailer, right? And just
yeah.
put the comic in and say that you can use my address and go to them and say, hey, how much would this cost to ship to this place like this?
Right. That's what I mean. We'll talk to them.
No. Are there any smugglers we could call? A little hand solo action, get the Millennium Falcon going.
Yeah. And
funny.
obviously, you don't have to ship. You saying something, Anita?
What?
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
But
Welcome
anyways,
back
you
to your
know,
show.
it's like I know we all, as creators, we want to make sure everything gets to people in good condition. So
Mhm.
it's a wait. Do I do it? It's because the last thing we want to have to do is reship as well, right? Because that just costs
Right.
us more money.
Reshipping is the nightmare. It's the only thing worse is reprinting.
Yeah.
I've done that too.
Yeah.
So then we have, of course, the alternate cover.
Yeah.
As we've seen, again, $15 plus shipping, whatever that might be to wherever you are.
Yep, we don't upcharge for the alternate cover, and I'm really not doing it for additional sales. I'm doing it because these guys are like, "Where's my alternate cover?" Okay. So now I just make one before the launch. It used to be, and what's happened is I've launched and they've gone, so there's another cover coming, right?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. And
Well, you've
then,
got one backer on that alternate cover, two backers on the
yeah,
original.
Yeah.
and the big packs contain both already, anyways, so that's kind of good.
Right.
The cards, the card
Mhm.
set is there. Nobody's bought that yet.
No, but
9
they're
cards.
like, so the
Well, they
guys
come
that
in.
buy
Yeah.
from us, if you go to the second to last one, right? The guys
Yeah.
that buy from us usually buy that pack, which has that stuff in it.
Yeah,
The
the love
Wait a minute,
lost.
Everything.
no, it's not the 150, it's the 250
Mhm.
Cycclopian cabinet. See, I didn't even put a picture there, and I need to, but I didn't put a
Yeah,
picture
you
there.
have. Didn't
There's no
you?
picture there.
That's the T-shirt. I'm looking. There's no
No,
picture.
I'm looking at Cycclopian's, the big one, the $250 one. If you go down and you look, Cycclopian's cabinet.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that in a sec. ALK or Parasocial Audience is saying if you want to pre-package comics and bulk ship them to me, I will split them apart and split apart in packages and mail them inside Canada. To get cheaper, I guess. Sort of a distribution thing is what he's suggesting. It could be cheaper that way too, for sure.
Definitely could be.
Oh yeah, Chris, we don't have a picture. How did you miss that? How did I miss
I didn't miss it. I didn't put one in because I almost feel guilty having it there, but I know these guys want it, so it's like.
Right. Well, so where were we? We were on the metal cars, and we already kind of went through that. Those are 50. The t-shirts are 25. And
then the Great Cycclopian book run on the bottom, that was by request.
Okay, what's this? What's the Cycclopia cabinet?
Yeah.
It's got all her stuff in it. Everything that's in the thing. So Cycclopia's cabinet is all 9 issues of the Great Cycclopian plus the limited edition alternate cover, the 2-sided full color metal cards, the Love Lost t-shirt, and then she wrote, oh, this is Diana's writing too. That's 10 comics, a fantastic collector's set of metal cards, and an awesome t-shirt for $250. You'll also get any stretch goal rewards that we hit. Jump in now. Only available in the United States. Free shipping.
Shouldn't that have been the Cycclopia's closet and not cabinet?
No, she meant cabinet for whatever reason. She was persistent. So that's what we went with.
Well,
and I know that the one below, the $150 one, that's by request, and that's coming on payday. But the guy got a hold of me through another guy, and he was like, I really want to buy this. And you know how that goes, right, Rick? If somebody asks for something, you put it up. It's like, all right, there you go. Yeah.
Well, I definitely think this is a thing that you should have up on each campaign is a tier with all the books.
Yeah, catch-up tier.
Yeah, because, some people are buying per thing. Some people are buying, it's just, it is what it is.
I'm going to say something. I want to say something that will sound crazy, but I'm just going to say it. And I didn't know this happened. Okay. I didn't believe it. But there are a lot of people when they back, they don't buy like I buy. Like when I buy the issue that's being promoted, and I usually get one copy, and I'm very excited. And when it comes, I gobble it up, I read it, and I'm excited. But there are people out there when they buy, they're like, yeah, I want like 5 copies. And you're like, why? And they're like, because I do. And you're like, okay, you're the customer, but 5? And they're like, yep. You know what I mean? It like blows my mind. I'm like, that's a little chunk of money for a comic. You're like in my head. And maybe I need to stop thinking like that. Maybe that's why my sales aren't where they need to be. But I'm like, I'm always surprised when people want to, support hardcore. And maybe I shouldn't be, but it's kind of humility, like, I don't know. I don't want to be a hustler. I want to provide value, and I want to give people what they want, but I don't want to take them at the same time.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you can be the hustler and still give people a good deal.
No, I don't know how to be a hustler. That's the problem.
He doesn't. He's not good at sales. Don't even try. I've tried to tell him. I've tried to say, honey, but it doesn't work.
I know we've told you this before, but it's not a lie. When we're in conventions and sales are going slow, you know what Chris has to do? He goes for a walk and sales pick up. I'm not kidding. The last show we were at, I walked by this guy's booth like 4 times in like 2 hours. And he yells over to me. He goes, what, is she paying you by the steps? And I'm like, actually, yeah, bro. Every time I leave, sure enough, she get another sale. And I don't know what I do, but I kill sales.
He speaks. He does. He kills the sale dead in the water. I'm like, oh God, I can't believe you just said that. And I don't scold him anymore. I used to like look at him and say, oh, will you please? Now I just encourage lots of walks. Honey, you look like you're getting bored. You know, you look tired. Maybe you need to go for maybe you need to go for
or it's something like, hey, Keith's table down there on the left about 40 feet over. Can you go say hi to him for me? Okay, honey. And
And
I
then of
go and
course,
I come back and she's got like 3 books and a set of cards sold. I'm like, how'd you do that? Amazing.
They came and they asked, and I delivered. I told them about Cycclopian. So
I don't know. Maybe I need to cut my hair. Maybe I look too intimidating.
no, that's not it.
I don't wear
well,
face paint anymore.
Oh, thank goodness. I
well,
know.
maybe there's the thing is maybe Diana does need to learn a little bit more about the characters or what's going on in the comic and start doing the shows. If she can sell at the conventions,
Well, you know
maybe
what's
she
funny,
can
Rick?
sell on shows.
I've heard her do the summarized version that she spits out live, and she misses so much, but she hits these notes in a way that people get perked up. Like I
I
listen
get
to her,
all
and
the
if it,
highlights of it. You have to
right,
go
but
to
if it was me, I'd be like,
highlights.
"Oh wait, you got to know about this before I tell you about that." She's like, blah, 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 and that's
Well,
issues.
because
Yeah,
I'm also watching the person. So live sales is definitely different than being online trying to sell a book. Like right now, I don't think we have anybody in the chat that's really interested in our book, and that's okay. That's fine. But the point is, at a live show, it's different because you're like
Well,
picking
you mean
up
like if you could see
book
their
and
eyes, you could see where they
yeah,
were at,
I
and
can
you would be
watch their
able to
body
judge.
language.
yeah,
I know if they're interested, and I can usually tell, depending on if it's a woman, a male, or a child, what piece of information of the Cyclopean to offer. Normally, I don't start out, you know, talking about the book right away. I usually compliment who, if they have a cool outfit on, or ask if they're having a good time. Did they see anything cool? And like our
yeah,
character was amazing, blah blah blah. So I go into the whole thing, but when it's online like this, it's not the same because I don't get a chance to like look at people's faces to see are they interested or are they just like rolling their eyes and I can tell
I
people
can
roll
tell too,
their eyes.
and I open up and I say, "Buy my book,
You
buy
don't
my
say
book,
that. You don't say
buy
that.
my book."
Oftentimes, Chris will open up and say, guess what? You can read them all on our website for free. If you don't have the money to buy today, you can read for free on our website. And I'm like, I probably wouldn't start with that. I would start with selling something. And then if they're not going to buy, and I can usually tell, that's when I tell them, well, we have like a little a flyer that we give them with a QR code on so they can go check it out. And you know, I just and it's okay. It's okay. It's a unique
yeah.
character. It's not everybody's cup of tea. I love the
No, it is
story.
everybody's cup of tea. They just don't know it.
Well, that
Yeah.
could be too.
Uh,
Mhm.
and finally, we have the PDF tier, which is basically
Yes.
that you
Oh,
can
just so
you'll get a copy of
people-
the PDF.
No, we
Okay.
won't even send you a copy of that. Well, we should, shouldn't we? Yeah, we will send you a copy of it. Yeah, because it goes up for
Well,
free after the new one comes out. But yeah, if they send it, yeah, we should. But nobody's done it this month, so
yeah,
we can make sure they do.
yeah. For you can go read all the other ones, and for $5 you can read this. Before issue 10 is put up for launch. On thing. And
It's
how
a
much?
little weird because promoting a free comic being updated while promoting a new comic for sale, but I'm hoping that people pick up on that and like they start looking at the last one. When I first had the PDFs up, I opened with one and let them run down the page, the covers. But I stopped
Yeah,
doing that because one is actually as awesome as it is, and as much as I love it, it's miles apart from what I'm producing right now, So the first one I
Right.
want them to read would be one of the modern ones, and then I'd want them to go, gee, I want to go back and find out more. What is this?
Right.
Because the artwork, thank you, Lord, for providing what you did, but it's not as good as issue 8, issue 9, I can tell you. And I've decided I'm not going to redraw it either. There's been a lot of talk about maybe I should redraw it amongst my friends. I don't think so. I think I'm going to leave it because it's a mark. It's like that's where I was,
Mhm.
and I'm just going to keep drawing. So it's not I don't want to redraw something I've already done. I want to go into the new stories, the new adventures.
Yeah,
The new adventures.
the new adventures of the great Cycclopian.
Right.
Sounds like a cartoon.
It should be, and it's coming one day if we ever get enough
Yeah.
support. But
Mhm.
right now, it's a comic book, and you know what? Even if we started
Yeah.
making cartoons, I would be hiring somebody. That's not what I'm never going to want to stop drawing my comics. I just love it, and I can't. Yeah.
Tim jokingly says, Chris. So Chris pulls out a baseball. You say you believe in God? Want to meet him? So is there any questions for, and I should have said this along, you guys have any questions for Chris or Diana in the chat? Any questions for them about the character or the books or the campaign? I know Alp has mentioned a few things in the chat, which I believe Diana has answered mainly for him
Mhm.
about promotional materials.
Mhm.
Diana,
Yes,
how is the font size in the comic book? Did you guys use an easy to read font, or is it too small, or is it just right?
I can read it, so everybody should be able to read it.
Okay. Tim is saying, Nightmate, what is he?
Nightmate. I don't know what nightmate is. I know
Nightmare.
what nightmare is.
Yes,
Nightmare.
nightmare.
Maya.
It's a horse. Nightmare.
No,
It's a
no,
horse.
so again, he actually
Not
Female
runs.
horse.
He
That's what I
runs
thought at first when you said nightmare. I thought
he runs in the reality of Peter's mind when Peter is asleep. But here's the interesting thing, and I'll just throw this out there because why not? I've already spoiled a lot.
Yeah, you
What
have.
happens when he's being held unconscious by a parasite who's trying to take over his body? Well, he's kind of half awake and he's kind of out. So it makes it possible for the Night Mayor to encounter Cycclopian and Queen Sting in a very interesting arena. And that's all I'm going to say. But we're going to break down some walls.
So is he like an evil version of Peter?
No, because he's not Peter. That's
Right.
the thing. Remember, so we've sold the idea that Peter is an alien from outer space. But
Mhm.
I've always hinted that that's
so
not
he's
quite
like,
so.
So he's like Parallax from the Green.
I don't know what's Parallax.
Parallax possessed Hal Jordan, Green Lantern. Made him kill all the other Green Lanterns.
Nope, he's not like that. So, how many viewers do you got right now, Rick?
He has enough.
Three or four.
Okay, so guys, between Rick and you guys, okay, it's gonna be revealed that Peter is in fact not an alien from outer space. And we will discover the biological truths of this creature who others have said, I don't know, there's something about you. I think you're a human being, despite the one eye thing. And yeah, you're gonna find out what's happening. And Nightmare is part of the result of the combining of the biological realities that make up the great Cycclopian. Oh, that almost works. I'm gonna have to work on that as a pitch because I've never shared that with anybody live in a show. But yeah, it's kind of exciting for me because I've been planning this, God, for 3 years, and like I'm finally coming up to it. Now, Nightmare in the book itself, he only appears in 2 panels, and one he's an obscure detail that no one will notice. He's kind of sneaking up on the situation, but in the final splash page, he arrives. And Rick, you must know this feeling. Yeah, because when I drew it though, I was like I stood up and my chest went as tall as Rob Liefeld's.
Oh, dear God.
I was just stunted out. I was like, yeah, look at the flex. Now, I'm not bragging. I just felt great because it was good to finally get to the point where he's here. He's in the book now. So what you'll find out in issue 10,
right,
it's going to be exactly what Peter and Nightmare are about. So I can't say too much more, but I can say, like the theme song said, the secrets are unfolding fast. There's a Cycclopian theme song for 9. And that's one of the secrets. We find out he's not actually alien, which works into a little bit of the God story, because Peter's always dealt with the fact that snotty little Christians tended to tell him, well, you can't be saved. Jesus only died for men. He only died for, people. And he finds out that, hey, well, it might be open to him. He has to investigate this a little deeper, because if you're not an alien, what are you, right? So, yeah, there's a lot of fun coming up, and I'm exploring those themes more after issue 12. But that's one of my big plans, is like having a little hero's journey where he discovers more about Christ and how he really fits in, as opposed to just being an alien. Because imagine being alive and you're just constantly told there's no way you can be saved. You're not a human. You can't take sacrament. You don't have a mouth. How are you going to take the bread? How are you going to drink the wine? Yeah, he goes through a whole bunch of that stuff.
Parasocial says, how does Cycclopian go on Ancestry.com?
I said no need. No need.
Well, he could actually.
Funny person.
Oh, that could be an interesting plot twist. What if the whole thing came out because he sent something off to Ancestry? Hey, Peter, it came back and it seems you're a relative of Abraham Lincoln from. I've seen some of the reveals on those, and usually the ones I see on Twitter are like, they'll have a black activist or something. And the last one I saw, it was some black lady who's been an activist for social justice. And it turns out that she's the child of a slave owner. And she's like, what? Yeah, your ancestors owned slaves and they were selling them. And she's like,
oh, gosh.
Well, these people don't understand. There's a reason they were able to rise above and get in places of privilege, and more or less. And usually it's because someone in your past did something that isn't always the best thing. Now, a lot of them are good people who earned it and whatnot. But you had an uncle who kind of danced in the tulips with the mafia. There are things that happen in older people's lives that we don't know about, that we're like, what do you mean you served time in prison for what? Yeah. You're 90 years old. What do you mean? When you were 30 to 40, you spent 10 years in prison? I don't know if you've ever had a conversation like that, but I have. Hang on.
Anyway, Parasocial says, sweet. I've never read a not alien reveal.
Yes.
Says, does Cycclopian learn about Zemu and L. Ron Hubbard?
I haven't thought about that. And there's a lot of room to go after issue 12. I'd be concerned, though, because I think that's Scientology, right?
Yeah,
they would sue me, and they would want to audit me and make me join. And then they would take over the Cycclopian, and it would become a Scientology propaganda sheet. And really, so but we could do a parody. I like parodies.
Yeah. Well, eventually, with all these changes, I'm going to definitely have to. We're going to definitely have to revisit at some point getting on the Cycclopian Canadian Shield crossover.
There you go.
So if I pull a parody off, are you going to be like, that doesn't count?
You bet it wouldn't count.
Oh, Chris, you're so funny.
Well, I am trying to think, but really, so some of them are obvious. I equal some in Fiber Frog. If you know the characters they're spoofing, you go, oh yeah, okay, I see where you did that. But I can't think of one for Canadian Shield. It's like Canadian Heel? No. Canadian Heel? No, see, then we're it's gotta no, because then they think I'm trying to make fun of Captain Canuck or something. But there's got to be a good one, and God will give it to me eventually. I'll hear Canadian the word.
Canadian
What about Canadian Feels? And he could be a Justin Trudeau social warrior. Canadian Felt? No.
Well,
Do you know what felting is?
well, you got to remember, the buckler was originally supposed to be a sort of a parody,
Yeah.
so it doesn't necessarily have to have, you know,
I want you
Canadian.
guys to know,
It
by the
doesn't have to
way,
rhyme.
I stopped whining about not getting my um my book from him.
Canadian Castle.
Yeah, and I'm still waiting, but I'm gonna be patient. I've shut my mouth. I'm like, just wait, and it's gonna come someday. But I've seen him a couple of times, like in streams, and I've never blown him up about it. I'm like, nope, 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 nope. But I've wanted to ask, and I'm like, nope, just wait, just wait. It's gonna come someday, right, Rick?
Someday.
Anyways, that's not a big deal. I'm still waiting on Rainbow the Brute too, but let me see.
Rainbow the Fruit.
I want to show you guys something that we got yesterday that I'm quite happy with, even though Diana was a bit disappointed, I think, in the size of it.
Well, I didn't read it.
Do you know what this is?
Battle of the Kangs.
Of the Kings. Yeah. Do you recognize the pink gorilla?
No,
Wiggle. You know who Wiggle is?
no.
So Wiggle is funny.
He looks
I don't know
purple
who he
more
is
to me.
really either. Wiggle used to be a member of War Campaign, apparently.
Oh,
And
okay.
he was one guy who hated Cluster Fudge, which, for those who don't know my history, I tried to do an adult graphic novel. And I thought it was pretty cool, but he read it and hated it because he thought Cluster was going to be a hero. And he was actually a despicable person. And it was the story of like how he couldn't kill himself in the end.
Mind you, this was through COVID.
Yeah, it was, but it's not a fault or anything. I wanted to see if I could pull off an adult horror book. And it wasn't, I thought it was risque, but it wasn't porn or anything. And it's funny because I think like there's far worse out there. I didn't realize how bad comics could be in terms of content. And then I saw some stuff and I'm like, I don't know, man. I like shooting people in comics. I don't like seeing their intestines fly through the air necessarily. You know, like sometimes it's too much. You know, if they're blowing apart, you know, a Hitler character. If it's just a mugger, I don't want to see the mugger's brains on the side of the wall. Usually, I just let me know you beat him up. That's all I need to know. A good punch and you know. Half the punches we draw, if someone took a punch like that, their face would be crushed. And yet, you know, we draw these magnificent how to draw comics the Marvel way, these full roundhouse punches. And I'm like, whew, if somebody hit me like that, I think my nose would separate from my face. But we all have superpowers.
I know. Tim's like violent books. He's so funny.
I got one for you for Canadian Shield, maybe a spoof. The Red Maple.
Maybe. Oh, why don't you use that as like a co-hero in your book? Holy cow!
Because I just thought of it.
That would be good though. Like, you know, a related hero. Like maybe he could be Justin Trudeau's son, and he loves the Canadian Shield so much that he leaves home to join the righteous Canadian Shield to battle his own father. And like you can make Justin like Darth Trudeau, and like he could deny that he's his father until the end when Justin has a blood test done. You know, Red Maple, I am your father. No, and Canadian Shield catches him as he falls instead of Lando Calrissian. Yeah, it could work.
I do like that name, though, the Red Maple. It's a good name.
I actually do. That's why I'm like, why aren't you using that? That's a good one.
Like I said, I just literally thought of it.
Well, it goes to show your hair's growing. That means your creativity's coming back. You're like Samson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed. I did a Biden.
Oh my God.
It happens. I'm old. 55, folks. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
You know why? That's the only reason I don't get rid of my hair, because most of my peers are going bald, and I go, tell me about it, my friends. And they get all upset with me, but I'm like,
Uh,
I still have hair.
or here's Canadian Beaver.
No, that one you would get in trouble for because everybody would think it was going to be risque, and they'd be like, "That's a nasty book, isn't it?" No, it's like Squirrel Girl, Canadian Beaver. Diana, maybe. So I don't think it's a thing in Canada because you're not getting it, but in America,
I know what.
Oh, you're getting it. Okay, you're just being very polite about it. I'm like, yeah, you might get in trouble for that one.
Parasocial says you can use the French version of.
Thank you, Tim.
Laurentian.
It's for a different kind of reader, Tim. That's all. Your books are great.
I have to tell you something about Tim Olson because
oh God,
I love Tim in the sense that he is exactly right. We're polar opposites in many ways, but in many ways we're not. Like we do share the same savior. There are times when Tim is more empathetic and sympathetic and kind than I am. Like we'll have a couple of DM conversations and I'm like, oh, I want to just smash the bad guys. And Tim's like, maybe you should be patient, brother. And of course, I'm paraphrasing and he may not even know what I'm talking about, but there have been times when Tim's been very calming when I thought, oh, if I go tell Tim, he'll get the machine guns out and we'll go crazy. Nope. Tim's like, oh man, I don't want to do the drama. I'm not part of that. And he's right. Like he's focused lately on maybe longer than lately, publishing a book without being part of a crowd. In other words, we're both kind of similar, and you are too, Rick, I think, where we're not really reliant on a group. We are more independent than the independents.
Yeah, well, we don't want to be reliant on crowdfunding. We want our books to be beyond that.
Right, exactly.
Well, it's funny because the other day it came up, and I understand some guys are funding the creation. That's what EBS is basically doing. And unfortunately for him, there's no clear way to put that in a campaign on Indiegogo. If I was financing the creation of a jet engine, that would be what he's doing more or less. It's more akin to that, where he does ultimately get you a book. When I do a crowdfund, and I think it's the same for you, and I'm pretty sure it's the same for Tim, our books are 90% done, and we're ready to go. It's like I'm starting this because I'm delivering when the deadline comes up,
or close to it. Yeah,
right.
And I think, well, for you, me, and Tim, we're trying to create companies. EVS, he's just doing some books.
Yeah, and I don't want to criticize him because I don't know, but I do criticize him sometimes. But I don't want to say too much because I don't know what it's like to sell $1 million in a book or 3 million or.
Yeah, but see that's just in that it tells you a little bit about it. He sold $1 million. He could invest in other artists coming on and doing stuff, getting stuff faster, getting more books out. He's talked about several, 5 or 6 books that he'd like to do and bringing.
Isn't that what he did with Snowman or Fearsome? And I thought Snowman was another one that somebody else did the drawing on, but he's done a couple. I think. Yeah. Okay, so this is me speaking out of ignorance. I have never run a multi-million-dollar company, but I think he kind of needs to look at like trying to find a way to do bi-monthly books at minimum, even if it's not his Cyberfrog. Get Dale Keown and bring in the other 2 guys that he's working with right now and just start rotating campaigns out. He could establish a decent publishing schedule where he could get back into LCSs. The only thing keeping me out is I'm not actually following the schedule. Sometimes it's 40 days, sometimes it's 90 days.
Yeah, but you have like 9 books, or we'll have 9 books out now. You could probably go to, from what I heard, you could probably go to Diamond and get your first books on their thing.
It's possible.
Yeah, but Chris doesn't want to
I will talk to my marketing and management team.
He doesn't want to do that. Because he's got to fill out all this paperwork and answer questions, and he doesn't.
The thing is, once we get issue 12 done, I will be opening to doing more with the first 12 issues.
I hope so, because I'm sitting here waiting.
Well,
So
and part of that is okay. So, like, I don't want to leave the process that we have right now until we finish the 12 issues. So that means I use Amazon as my printer. That means I'm
yeah,
setting up a specific way. I have a certain format that I'm using right now.
yeah.
It's expensive, but I know what I'm doing and what I'm getting, and I can do very small or very large quantities. It can flex either way. The downfall is if I sell, say, let's say we get lucky and I sell 10,000 books this campaign. Somehow something pops, and Joe Rogan mentions my book, and I sell a huge amount. I'm going to lose some money because I didn't buy in bulk. You know, I'm still going to end up paying a large price because it's print on demand. But I know what I'm paying and I know what the margins are, so I'm still in good shape. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's a preset price, so no matter what happens, I should be able to deliver perfectly.
Yeah.
And you know, so that's helped us get to 9 issues. And that's kept us alive like through all of this. Because if I had to like increase sales every month, I don't know what I'd do, because we fluctuate. I go from like 1,500 to 3,500, back down to 2,200, things like that.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I'm over here yawning. I didn't mean to
Yeah.
yawn so long.
Yeah,
That's
we've been
because
on. We've been on 2 hours now.
Yeah, we did.
And obviously I wouldn't mind going on for however long, but you guys also have to get to sleep.
yeah,
Too.
I end up having to work in the morning.
Jobs in the morning.
So it's really cool because the we work in education, and that means school year is about to start, and that is the craziest time of the year, even more so than the closing of the school. The openings are always the craziest. So this is like the last week before they open their doors, so it's the craziest week. You got to fix all the band-aid lists, and
Yeah.
so that's been my life this week. That and drawing.
Okay, so as we're about to close, any elevator pitch from either of you for Cyclopian number 9, Great Cyclopian number 9?
Chris, go ahead.
Buy my book.
Buy my book. That's your
No.
elevator pitch.
I wasn't planning on one, but basically, the Great Cyclopian 9 brings us into the final chapter of Cyclopian's run through his 12-issue series. You're going to learn about how he eats. You're going to learn about his origins, or more about them, that unfolds into 10. You're going to meet Cyclopia. You're going to meet Nightmare, and you're going to see Captain Aura and the boys fighting the Zenith team. All for $15. That is so cool. And there's bling. So
Bling, 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 bling,
that's
bling.
it. I just go at the end. I just go, yeah. How was that? That was horrible.
Okay, we'll let Diana try this elevator pitch thing.
You want me to try? Okay, so the Great Cyclopean 9 is a culmination of where Peter started from into where he is right now. We are introduced to Nightmare and Cyclopia, and as his adventure continues to unfold, you will learn secrets that have been started since Great Cyclopean 1. So go to Find My Comic, look up Great Cyclopean 9, get yourself a book.
And that's how you do an elevator pitch, Chris.
Chris is like, shut up, all of you.
No, I'm speechless. That was wonderful. I'm going right now. I'm going to back right now.
Stop.
Oh
my God.
Tim
So-
does have one last question. He says, so going from 13 onwards, it's a new chapter?
Yes.
Well-
So 12 is the craziest part, because you guys know how I write, but I've had these plans all the way up to 12, and they're coming to fruition, and that's going to be a new frontier. Once we get there, I have to lay down some firm plot lands. I have some ideas, and I have a couple of roads that are sketched out, but that's when the paver hits the dirt, and it's going to become the next chapter.
There you go.
I'm just waiting for it to be
Okay. I guess with that, I'll say good night to everybody. I'll thank Chris and Diane for coming on for
Thanks
this
for having
talking
us,
with.
Rick.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Rick.
And hopefully you guys can go out. People can go out and buy the book here. Let me do a refresh. I doubt it, like you said, I doubt anybody's bought anything, but we'll see whether anybody has. Whether you
Mhm.
No, you're still at the same number of backers. But hopefully
Right.
people know, the few people that were here will know it's here, and maybe they'll go find, go buy something.
This is where in but this is where in the conventions, I should be okay in saying, or you can go read it for free at HeroShack.com.
Yeah. Well, they
I
can
don't mind
support,
either. Listen,
they
you
can
got some
support you
smart-
for as low as $5 and get
That's true.
the ninth
But you got-
one and
got
go
smart
read the
people.
first eight.
You got
Yeah.
smart people. So if you guys are bored and you just want a free ride, go check out the issues and give us a line. Tell us what you think. You will affect the future of Peter.
There you go. That's
Is
another
he a
way to
pumpkin eater?
Yeah. Yeah, he would eat pumpkin. Even though I hate pumpkin. That means he's not really a self-insert.
Oh my God, I can't with him.
Oh,
Zero.
before we go on with this, okay. Good night,
Please.
all. Thanks, chat.
Good night, ladies.
Bye.
God bless.
We'll catch you all later. God bless. Love you all. See you Tuesday.
10 p.m., right?